Hi guys, welcome back to Artisan Electrics. I'm here today with Luke and Lee, and today we've got a rewire. Let's get into it. Wait, where are you guys going to be chasing? I feel like everything's going to be in the way of the chases at the minute.
And chases.
Yeah, I mean, shall I start getting all the stuff, the cable routes ready up here? Because there's only two of us can work on the chasing and marking, really.
Yeah, unless you want to mark where the sockets are going, and then me and Luke can just go around, chase them all.
Today's video is brought to you by Doncaster Cables. Luke will tell you a bit about it later on as he's doing the consume unit. Plug something in at that red line. Does it feel too low? Pretend to.
Perfect, I'd say.
That's bottom. That's the bottom of that socket. I'm just going to match all of them to that. I mean, that socket is not the same height. That's 450 to roughly the top of the box.
I was going to say, if they're all different, is it worth just doing it to a brand new, do switches to 120 if we've got to chase them down anyway, and sockets to 450?
Yeah, I'm always looking for a switch when it's at 120. I'm like,
even that.
Oh, it's here, is it? It's ridiculously
Even that,
low.
like, that don't have to be there, does it? Because this wall's gone now. It can just go there, chase down.
Because there's a gas pipe there, so I don't fancy chasing near that one. Well, that's 450-ish.
So all of them at that height.
Wait, are we doing 450 bottom or top?
I always do 450 to the bottom and 120 to the 120 to the. Yeah, but that's the regs, isn't it?
I know, yeah, I know.
No, that's new. That's new builds. Rewires, you can put them anywhere you like. Put them on the skirting board if you like.
Yeah, but I mean, might as well, mightn't we, if we're chasing them in?
Yeah. Right. Well, that black mark. I mean, it's just ever so slightly over the mark. I need to find something the same size as that cable drum. So we're just going around and marking the position of the sockets, and we're going to get all the chases marked, and then one of us is going to be going around with a Hilti, getting them all chased in, and I'm probably going to start getting some floorboards up and getting our runs sorted out and all the joists drilled out. That's the plan anyway. So it's going to be very noisy soon. So, anyone that might have seen, I don't think we filmed it, but I put it on my stories a few months ago. I'd done an EICR here, and this was in the kitchen cupboard. So couldn't find where the sockets were going back to. Removed that little bit, cut out the back, and then you've got what looks like the old cooker feed coming in, and someone's JB'd it, and then looks like they've run their ring down to the sockets below, and then they've also spurred off to go up maybe to the extractor fan. So we're just ripping everything out at the moment, and then John and Ruben are going to be here for a few days, and yeah, just rewire the whole place, and then me and Luke will be back end of the week just to help second fix everything, so get all this old stuff ripped out and start fresh. So at the minute we're putting these to 450, which is new build regulations. However, on the rewire you don't actually have to adhere to that. So we could put them back in the same place or sort of any height we want within reason. But we're opting for this. Just means that if they do sell it in the future, it's more accessible height for anyone who's having mobility issues and stuff like that. We're also going to lower the switches down to 120 because at the minute they're quite high up. And again, it's a new build regulation height. It's not something we have to do, but we think as we're moving nearly every single point, we might as well just select a new height.
It'll be a lintel for that, won't it?
That's what I mean, are we going to get near that lintel?
This switch was just for that one.
That's what I'm wondering whether we should...
Make that a two gang then. One to do that and one to do that.
So what's this switch is doing?
That'll be a two.
That was the hallway originally, so the wall.
Yeah, that was that one. But if that wall's gone.
No, she did say she wants it here because it lights up the stairs. So we're gonna have two. We're gonna have
switch for that, switch for upstairs.
Switch for that, or are they coming on at the same time?
Would you do them so they both come on though, or just that one on its own?
Yeah, where would you go to turn that switch, that one on, or do you think put three gang there?
Three gang, one for that one for that one for upstairs. John's just gone down the shop to get some milk. I'm just going to get the first chase done on here. This one's going to be deeper because we're going to run the cables down and move that light switch over. So we're going to have the lighting cables and also the socket cable. So I'm going to make this one a bit deeper, and then I'll take it back down to probably about 35mm, and I'll just start going around well, the whole house really, just starting getting all the chases, and then I think Luke's going to follow behind, chasing and fix the boxes to the walls, and hopefully by the end of the day have all the main sort of stuff out of the way, and then John and Ruben can just be running cables for the next few days. But first things first, nice cup of tea. Right, so I've done a 40mm chase into this wall. I'm going to take it with the chisel bit now, get all the inside out, and then Luke can just follow up behind me and chase in this box and get that fixed. And then yeah, we'll have a light switch just to the side as well, so it's still in the zone because it's going up from the socket. Hopefully we can drill up behind and not damage the coving, because we don't really want to be cutting into it, but we'll see how it goes. If we have to cut it, we'll just do a nice neat cut with the multi-tool and it can get patched in. We'll get this one out and see how it goes.
I'm just going to get some of the carpets up and some floorboards up to sort of suss out a route while the other lads are making an absolute racket downstairs. You can see the underlay didn't survive. This is what happens to underlay after about 40, 50 years. These boards look like they've been up before, so I'm just going to lift them up and see what we've got underneath. The problem with this house is the floorboards are this way here and the joists are going that way, but I believe when you go into the room they change directions. If we look over here, so the boards are this way here, but this way here. It would be better if they all went one way, and we could just go bring our cables all down one side of the house and then come across. Observant viewers may have noticed there's a shower in the bedroom. That's not actually changing. So what we're going to do is actually put the sockets far enough away from the zones, and they're going to put up a petition at some point and make it an ensuite. But for the time being, we'll just keep them 2.5 metres away from the shower, so it's outside the zone. If you are lifting up any trim or anything like that in a room, try and keep all the original screws and put the trim or carpet grips on the window ledge in the room. Because at the end of the rewire, you'll be staring at 10 different pieces of trim and thinking, where did they go? So my tip would be leave it on the window ledge in the room you're in. You've got to sweep up the underlay. Right, so there's so many commercial, industrial sparks. I mean, I've done all sorts in this trade, and they will say house bashers and talk down about domestic electricians, but they don't realise how much graft is involved and how many different trades you've got to know and all sorts. So people shouldn't look down their noses. We're going to put one on that one. It's got to be 2.5 metres away. Well, it's going well down here, yeah. I'm just getting like,
well, what's
iron lung, diphtheria, all sorts of for the dust underneath that floor. Should we go get a mask?
Once that bit's done and that box is done, then we can move everything to this side.
We've just discovered that these have got these sort of pot bricks. They're hollowed out, as you can see. So it does make the chasing easier, but it makes fixing the boxes an absolute nightmare. So we think we're going to get some fast fix plaster or something to bond the boxes in place and just get them all fixed in place today.
What are we saying, tea break?
So just having a little look around, any boards that have been lifted, I'm just having a look to sort of getting a lay of the land. If you look at this one, it's been laid for this pipe coming out here. They've drilled through the floorboard and then they've battened it out rather than cutting it on the join. See here? It's not ideal. It looks like, I don't know, that might have been an existing crack, but it just means they cut it at an angle as well. So it sits okay, but it's not ideal. I'd like to see it always cut on the actual joist, then you've got a nice solid fix in. So we're gonna get this board here up right to the wall and hopefully get right through to next door. If not, we're gonna have to sort of come into this room, back to the hallway, and then into that room, fishing in. This is tongue and groove floorboard, so it's slotted in, so you can't lift it up. You need to break this tongue here. You can use a circular saw and set the depth and go along. However, in my experience, even with setting the depth, if a plumber's not installed the pipes properly and they're right up against the floorboards, you can still nick the top of it and flood the house, as you saw Corey do in a previous video. But so I'm lifting this by hand. I could get the multi-tool on it and buzz along it to get rid of it, because this is less likely to damage a water pipe, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to use this and make sure there's nothing there. Now that the tongue groove is broken out, I can start levering it up from this end, being gentle. That first lift, it's just, you can end up, because you're putting pressure on this board, breaking through and damaging this board. So I'm going to try my best not to do that, and I'll show you what I do while I do it. I find if you agitate, you can see where the nails are here. If you agitate them, it can help them start jumping up. So you can see it's still wedged in here and it's quite tight. So I could just wrench it and hope it comes up, but there's a risk I'm going to snap the board. So I'll try and put a bit of pressure on it and then just agitate it again. There she blows. It's like magic. Right, I think it's a bit ambitious for me to try and get that right underneath the wall. I might just cut it here. I'm just going to pop next door and start lifting that side as well. It may move and then I can cut it there and pull it out from the other side. The key to trying to lift it up in one piece, I mean, you can see bits have frayed off of it, but I've not cracked the board. It's just trying to not press too hard and trying to just agitate it to let it lift on its own. You can see it doesn't want to go and all of a sudden it will jump up and the screws will come out. Patience is key. Broke on a knot.
Jeez.
Right at the last second, it's split on the knot. There's just so much pressure on this joist. No, the board's split. It's on top of a wall, so I'm still trying to keep it in one piece, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Oh no, there's a wall there, John.
I didn't stand a chance, did I? Look at the state of it. So, as you can see, we've got a load of the chases in, so the boys are still carrying on with that.
Still? What are you...
Still?
Still?
Time call this. They're too busy eating macas, that's the trouble. I'm going to carry on trying to get the cable routes in, so hopefully by the end of the play everything will be chopped in, so then tomorrow me and Ruben can start wiring. So I've got a path across for downstairs, the kitchen, the two sockets on this wall. I need to get a socket on this wall here, but because the joist, so if you see there, the boards run this way, and over here they run that way. If they carried on like this, it would just be one across and then we could fish that way. But it's the worst of both worlds, because I need to get to that socket there and a socket opposite, which means I've got to get a board up here which stops there, and then a board across the back there to get to that socket. But there's a giant bed in the way, there's a huge wardrobe. And I'm losing inspiration. For the rest of the day, we're just going to be smashing out walls and lifting up floorboards. It's not very interesting viewing, so we'll catch you tomorrow with me and Ruben wiring it up. So the last thing you guys would have saw was day one of the rewire. To be honest, it hasn't gone well like most jobs. We're really up against it, and none of the joists went right. You couldn't push through nearly all of them, so it really impeded us. But you're joining us on the last day, the last panic day. We've got it all first fixed, it's all to be second fixed. All the carpets have got to go down, all the floorboards have got to go down. If I show you sockets in here, we've moved the light here. This room was the main issue. So this bed has been the bane of our existence, not to mention the carpet. This wall here, the floorboards changed direction halfway through, and there is solid bits of wood, so you can't actually push through. So I've had to lift boards up nearly the whole way along there, which is always fun to do. Today we're going to have Luke doing the board, Me and Lee are going to be trying to rush around doing all of the second fixing. First thing I'm going to do is try to get all these boards down and all the carpets back down so it starts looking like a home again. So we fished all the cables down to the mains. Ignore the temporary board hanging off, that's just happened. So now Luke's ready, all the cables are here. So he's got all of this length on the cable to do a pucker job, and we're looking forward to seeing the result.
That's good. Good to go. It's got no fur on
He's
it.
like that, I'm not drinking it.
Yeah, who cares?
I said about make sure you lift nails straight away. So if you lift the floorboard, you need to pull up your nails. So now look, it's the end of the job and these nails haven't been pulled up. I blame Lee because he ripped this board up yesterday to get this cable through.
I'm just cutting up a board because I'm going to raise the consumer unit off the wall slightly just so I can dress the cables in from behind. And basically just do a little slit in the middle just so you can bring the cables through and just makes it a bit neater. 50.
You want batten?
Oh yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be lovely. What, Battenberg? I was just going to put that behind like that, raise it off like that.
Opening this box is just making me want to get a pizza tonight. Look at that. Imagine if that was a sick little dummies. Someone's having a laugh with me, right? I'll just open the box. And there's a couple of cheeky little Monopolies in there, so I might scan them and see if anyone's used them. Are they someone's old ones that they've lobbed in there? Oh, they've been used, mate. I've been mugged off. Why put them in there when they've already been used?
So yeah, when you're putting down floorboards, it's just important to look at what you've got underneath. So at the minute it's just the cables. I've had to put a brace there because of where the joist was. But it's pipes you need to look out for because plumbers normally run the pipes in any way that suits them, and they notch pipes. Let's see if I can find some. So you can see there's pipes here, over there, and then if I show you in this room, they quite often notch them out right down the middle. So if you go to put boards down, you can end up screwing straight through and whacking a central heating pipe. You can even mark the boards just to try and lay out where the pipes are to make sure you don't hit them. It's the last thing you want on the last day of a rewire. Oh, there's a bag there.
So as you can see, I've finally managed to get the board in place. That bit takes a bit of time and it helps further on along the line. See, I pulled all the cables through. Now I'm just gonna start marking up the board. I'm gonna set a line along here behind the dim rails and then bring them through there, and that way you can just bring them straight up and loop them around, and you haven't got all this all on show and that, so it just makes it look a bit neater. See, I'm gonna mark it up now, cut all the holes out, and then get the board mount and start pulling the cables through. I've cut out the holes and put 5 grommets in. Like I said, it's going to mount on here, so these all line up with here. Now it's just, I've got my order in which I'm going to dress them. So now I'm just making sure I dress them correctly and then none of them are twisted and tangled up, just to make it easier. So yeah, I'm just putting them all through, get the board mounted, and then start stripping them and trying to put them away.
Cameraman was just asking me what the worst thing have happened on a rewire, but I can't think of anything that comes to mind because usually, well, if you're rewiring it, you're doing it all properly. One thing that does come to mind is I was working up London, I think it was Covent Garden. It was a big sort of 5-floor building and was running site temps everywhere. So down in the basement, we reused one of the 3-phase boards that was on one of the floors, took it down to the basement, reused that to then run armoureds up to each floor with a transformer as it was a building site. And because we reused one of the existing boards that was from one of the floors, I wired it all up, and when I turned it on, it absolutely blew up in my face and the whole building went dark. And what it was someone had put a link out kit on the 3-phase board to make it a single phase. So when I turned it on, it linked all 3 phases together and just absolutely blew up. So yeah, that wasn't too fun.
As mentioned, today's video is sponsored by Doncaster Cables, and they've been very kind and sent us all of their cables for this rewire, which has helped massively. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you remember at the beginning of the year, we went up there and actually visited Doncaster Cables and took a tour around their factory, and we saw the whole process from them getting the copper in to manufacturing to the end, even the end part of them delivering it. So if you haven't watched that video, there'll be a link in the description. Today I've been doing the fuse board change in the cupboard, and we've all spoke about how good the cable is and how nice it is to use. Even the way it feels in your hands, the stripping, the ease of stripping this cable is different. I've never used cable that strips as well. Even the packaging it comes in, it's not the flimsy sides to what most cables come in, they fall apart. Even the boxes, it comes in nice sturdy reels. I'd highly recommend buying it and giving it a go and see what you think. Like I say, a massive thanks to Doncaster Cables, it really helped out, and it's a great product and we look forward to using it more often.
Right, so this switch here, it's got quite a few cables there, as you can see. So we've got a feed in, a feed out to the light, an outside light, two-way with upstairs and two-way with the living room. So there's going to be a 3-gang switch here. All it ever comes down to is lives and neutrals, so it's really not that complicated. It looks a little bit daunting in this state with all of these cables out, but these are all common, the CPCs, so they're just all going together. So I'm going to sleeve them up and get them connected.
So like I say, we've been really busy today. Literally been stuck in this cupboard for about 5 hours now. But yeah, finally got the board finished. Just a couple of things to tidy up, just neaten these, put some cable ties, etc. But yeah, got the board laid out nicely, which I'm really happy with. So now we're just putting in isolate as well, just after the meter. Then yeah, I'll have a big tidy up in here, get this all clean, then jump on and give the boys the rest of the hand doing the rest of the work.
I reckon if that's there, when you walk out, do you reckon you're going to bang your head on it? I reckon yeah, Roy. I hate these coach lights. They're just poorly designed. Every time you try and push them back, these go in further, and yeah, they're rubbish.
So I had to shoot over about half hour away, just finish a job from yesterday. So I've just come back. I'm just going to finish off John's outside light. I didn't drill that hole, so don't look at that. Luke's ready to get the board on, I think, so hopefully we can get that kettle on, and yeah, I think there's a couple of little bits to second fix, and then might have to pop back to do all the certain stuff, but it's getting there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. It's Friday. We've just buttoned up here. We've still got probably a day's worth of making good, just sorting out the cert and testing. I think John and Ruben will be back just to finish that off. But yeah, it's been a pretty hectic day. I think we're all ready for a beer, so we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. It's Friday. No.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Is that
Is that statement?